It is 5:01 on Thursday, May 29th, and this is the meeting for the City of Scottsdale Citizens Bond Oversight Committee. We can have a call to order for the meeting. If you, Aaron, if you wouldn't mind doing the roll call.
Absolutely. Vice Chair Coughlin.
Present.
Committee Member Davis.
Davis, here.
Chair Du Bois. Absent. Committee Member Fisher.
Here.
Committee Member Holland. Absent. Committee Member Herr.
Here.
Committee Member Kamasu.
Here.
All right, thank you. Vice Chair Coughlin, I'll turn the meeting back over to you.
Great, thank you, Aaron. Well, we'll get started with the agenda. First thing on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from March 25 meeting. Is there anyone would like to make a motion to approve the minutes?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Thank you, Committee Member Fisher. Is there anyone who would like to second approval?
I second.
Great. Thank you, Committee Member Herr. So minutes are approved. Next.
Vice Chair Coughlin, I believe the second was from Committee Member Kamasu.
Oh, Kamasu, correct. It was Kamasu.
Okay, just so it gets read into
that.
the minutes correctly. Thank you.
We'll move on to the agenda, question 2 or part 2 of the agenda today. That is a update on the 2019 bond program, including questions 1, Parks, Recreation, Senior Services, question 2, Community Spaces and Infrastructure, and question 3, Public Safety and Technology.
Good evening, Allison Timke, City Engineer, to give you just an update on our Bond 2019 program and the projects that are currently underway. So this is a summary of our question 1 projects that are currently in the FY 2024-25 budget. The first project is number 2, add splash pad and improve walkways at McCormick-Stillman Railroad Park. This project is being constructed in conjunction with our McCormick-Stillman Roundhouse project, and the project completion is actually scheduled for the end of June, and I have some photos on the next few slides of this project. The next project is 13, expand Granite Reef Senior Center to meet demand for adult daycare. The construction for this project is being moved to, the funding is being moved to fiscal year 26-27. There was some discussion with the Budget Review Commission about this project and just about the feasibility of the adult daycare. So we're going to be doing some additional investigation in this, and that's why the funding is being moved to a future fiscal year. Project 21 is expand Via Linda Senior Center to meet demand for senior services. The design of this project just kicked off within the last 2 weeks. 41 is install solar heating system for El Dorado Pool. We're currently evaluating concepts with our design build manager team for this location. 42 is add a dog park to Thompson Peak Park, and we're tentatively planning to start construction this summer. 53 is build multi-use sports fields in the area of Bell Road. The sports complex is open and has been for some time. The project is just in the final closeout. We did have some temporary equipment at our irrigation pump station, and we had to wait for the final equipment to arrive, some pumping and electrical equipment. That equipment has been changed out, so we should be prepared to close this project out soon. 55 is build a 17-acre park at Asher Hills Drive and 74th Way. This park also opened in February of 2025, and we're just going through project closeout on this as well. And then finally, we have 61, purchase land, expand Pinnacle Peak parking lot, staff office, restrooms, renovate hiking trail, and construct art and interpretive trail. So this project requires some Arizona state land for us to actually continue, but we are going to be looking at the concept here shortly just to see what's feasible to do in this area and if there are any alternates if we're unable to acquire Arizona state land for this project. So here are some pictures of the McCormick-Stillman Roundhouse project and the splash pad. So that concrete area in the foreground is the splash pad under construction. This is an aerial view of the roundhouse, and again, this picture has the splash pad in the rear, upper left of the photo. And then this is just a close-up of the splash pad. So all the sprinkler heads are all installed for the splash pad, and we're just waiting for some vertical elements to arrive and get installed. This is the implementation schedule for question 1 for the projects. It shows basically what projects are currently in design and construction, and then any future years, what we're targeting for design and construction. Just a couple of questions came up from committee member Kamasu on this. So typically, if we're not showing, so for example, project 41, El Dorado Pool Solar Heating Project, that's just showing currently in design and doesn't show construction because, again, we were evaluating alternatives to determine when and if construction would be feasible for that project. But we will be showing that in the future. And then similarly for the Appaloosa Library Solar Power project, that also is being analyzed, what's feasible for that location. So once we come up with a concept, we will be able to slate a construction timeframe for that. And then these are the projects currently scheduled for question 2. The first one is build a 200-space parking lot off of 75th Street to serve the city court and Scottsdale Stadium. This construction is being delayed, but we're looking to reschedule it for the spring of 2026. We do construction in this area following spring training, so we plan to start in the spring and be completed for the following spring training. So we're looking to schedule that for next spring. 18 is build roadway and pedestrian improvements along 2nd Street from Drinkwater Boulevard to Goldwater Boulevard. So this project, we are just starting to kick off the design on this project again. So it was previously on hold. We had prepared some concepts a couple of years ago, and we had presented them to City Council, and it was going to require quite a bit of additional funding to do the work that was proposed. So City Council at that time had determined that they weren't interested in that. So we had put the project on hold, but we're going to reinitiate it and just look primarily at the scope, which is the pedestrian improvements along 2nd Street with some minor roadway improvements. The next project is 23 Repair Lakes and Irrigation at Vista del Camino Park in the Indian Bend Wash. And construction is progressing on this. We're in our 3rd guaranteed maximum price, and that was authorized back in November by City Council. 45 is renovate horse barns to increase rentable space. So we have 7 barns complete to date. And we have expended all the bond funds for this project. And so each time we add additional funds, it's non-bond funds, and we request enough to build sequentially additional barns until we reach 10, because there are 10 that need to be replaced. For 58 is install solar shade at City Hall parking lot. Construction for this is slated to start late this summer, and I do have some concepts, renderings of that to show you next. And 59 is install solar systems at Civic Center campus. Again, our design build manager has been evaluating concepts for that. 63 is build parking structures in Old Town Scottsdale, and the Bond 2019 project for this is the structure proposed at 2nd and Brown, and we did hold our first public meeting for this just earlier on May 22nd. Okay, so this is just a rendering of what the City Hall solar project could look like, and it's an aerial view looking out at the parking lot that's outside of City Hall. And then this is just another rendering that shows the solar for the larger parking lot. And again, the implementation schedule for question 2 projects. Again, project 15 and 18, Project 15, we are targeting now spring 26 construction, so I will add that to a future presentation. Project 18 is the one I just mentioned, 2nd Street. We are initiating design on that, so construction will be slated in the future. And then, again, 58 and 59 are two of the solar projects that we are slating construction for. 58, which is the one I just showed you in City Hall, for 25-26, and then the solar at Civic Center campus will be slated for 26-27. So that will be on a future presentation. Excuse me. Okay, and finally, question 3 projects. We have project number 5, which is modernize computer equipment rooms to protect city servers. The final phase of this project is to replace the HVAC in these server rooms, and those plans are in for permit review. 7 is replace outdated 911 computer-aided dispatch and records management to improve efficiency. So basically, this is in final punch list and planning on closing this out through the end of June. Project 9 is install fiber optic infrastructure to reduce operating costs, and these are just current multiple locations that are currently in design and construction. 14 is replace obsolete planning and permitting software. So they're working on validating that and configuring the elements to get that software going live. Project 17 is obtain a citywide data management and analytics solution for database decision-making, and they're currently reviewing the architectural requirements for that. 28 is build the new fire station near Hayden Road and Loop 101 to improve response times. And that's currently under construction and slated to be completed in summer of 2025. We have the police and fire training projects. Project number 26 is to replace the deteriorating vehicle track at the police and fire training facility. This project is currently in design. Project 27 is modernize and expand the police and fire training facility. We actually just had the grand opening for this earlier this week on May 27th. And then, as you know from my last report, Project 38, build a new fire department training facility. This project was completed, and the facility opened in January to its first class of new recruits. Project 33 is renovate Via Linda Police Station to increase efficiency. We are doing some work on this project in support of Bond Project 40. We're basically renovating the jail there, so then when we do construction at Project 40, we will have a jail available to us. Project 37 is implement an inventory and asset control system for city technology, and that's now implemented, and this project will be closed. And Project 40 is renovate and expand Civic Center Jail and downtown police facility to meet demand. And again, this project design is progressing, and then parts of it are, the support is under construction with Project 33 for the jail relocation. And then these are some photos of our police training facility that was just dedicated last week, or earlier this week, excuse me. Some aerial photos. We have the new shooting range. This is a photo of the defensive tactics room where they do training. And this was actually just a classroom that was remodeled. So part of the project was an addition and part of the project was remodeling existing space. And again, implementation schedule for our question number 3 projects. And then here's a list of our question 1, question 2, and question 3 projects that are complete. We have, in question 1, we have several court surfacing and sports field lighting. Question 2 is a lot of work at Westworld, and then, of course, our Civic Center Plaza outside here. And then question 3, we have a lot of IT-related projects that have been complete and some bulletproof glass at some of our police department facilities, and then some replacement of fire utility equipment. And then again, we just do have that one project that has been eliminated, which was Project 12, to update Scottsdale's 15-year-old digital terrain model, and we were able to obtain that information from the USGS, so that project became unneeded. And with that, I'm happy to answer questions.
A question from Committee Member Herr.
I'm just kind of wondering is about project number 63 is about public parkings. And then I noted that you actually had a public meeting held on the May 22nd. And then actually wondering is like what was discussed during the public meetings, and then is there any reasons for them to have these projects particularly have a public meetings?
Committee member Herr. So yeah, that was our first public meeting for the design of the project. It's currently, we just kicked off the design, and the intent of the public meeting was to gather input on sort of the look and the aesthetics of what the parking structure design would be. And typically on projects like this, we do have a public involvement process where we invite the public to come and provide input into the design of the project.
Okay, thank you.
We have a question from Committee Member Fisher.
Yeah, Allison, on the eliminated projects, question 3, number 12. So we got the digital information from another source. So what happens to those funds? Are those available for other, under the bound terms? Is that available for other projects, or does that get set aside?
Committee Member Fisher, yes. So what we do with projects like that, and actually on the agenda tonight, we have for your consideration another project where we're looking to reassign funds to, we had project savings and we're looking to reassign them to another project. So we did that with this project, Project 12, when it came, we brought it before the committee to consider where we should apply those funds to, and we transferred them to a different project. And it has to be within the same question.
Thank you.
We have a question from Committee Member Davis.
Allison, on questions 1, Project 61, the Pinnacle Peak, your comment sounded like you don't expect the Arizona State land to have an auction, or that there are alternatives to waiting for the state to have the auction.
Committee Member Davis, so we are in communication regularly with Arizona State Land, and they just haven't had any interest in that parcel yet. So, I mean, potentially in the future, we could look at purchasing it, or see if there was any interest from Arizona State Land to sell us a portion of that parcel. So in the meantime, we are going to do a concept to design to see what actually is feasible to determine the exact amount that we would need of that land.
Thank you.
Any other questions from committee members? No? Perfect. I'm not sure if we need to let the record show that Committee Member Holland is also in attendance tonight. Perfect. If we want to move on now to item number 3, that's a presentation, discussion, and possible action on Bond 2019 financial report from Budget Director Scott Sellen.
Good afternoon, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the committee. For the record, Scott Saline, Budget Director with the city. Very happy to be here today to discuss a financial update for the 2019 bond program. I'll just emphasize that the figures we talk about today are accurate through May 19th, 2025. I did want to read into the record that we caught a technical issue with the graph on slide number 3. We've updated that table in the presentation on the screens, and we've also provided that to you all in paper form so you can see it. We'll make sure that the posted packet reflects the updated version. So as you know, the approved Bond 2019 program, $319 million, split between 3 questions. What you're seeing on the screen is the split between those 3 questions. This has not changed since the last meeting. Oops, going the wrong direction here. So this is the slide that was updated when we caught the technical issue. It shows a snapshot of the financial status of the 3 different questions as of May 19, 2025. We'll start with question 1. We spent just over $53 million with just under 5 committed and about $14.2 million in budget remaining currently, with $40 million roughly in future funding for that question. Question 2, $46.6 million spent, 6.2 committed, and 6.5 in remaining budget with $53 million in future funding. And then question 3, we've spent 51.7, about 9 million committed, 19.6 in remaining budget, and that leaves just under 14 million in future funding available. The first bond issuance closed in February of 2021 and used $55 million of voter authorization. That's been fully spent. The second one closed in February of 2023 for $77.8 million of voter authorization. I'll talk about the middle column here, the planned issuance in FY 24-25 of $107 million. We'll talk about that more on the next slide. We anticipate about $79 million in future issuance planned in FY 26-27. I think I emphasized this last time back in March, but I'll emphasize it again that Scottsdale remains a AAA-rated community. So on May 20th, the city competitively sold some general obligation bonds. The bonds were sold as 20-year bonds that mature in 2045. Here's some of the information regarding those bonds in this table. I'm not going to read every line. The city does work with a bond financing team. That includes members of the city attorney's office, the city treasurer's office, our external bond counsel, and our external financial advisor. They all work together to price, market, and then issue the bonds. The bonds were well received by the market due to our credit quality and name recognition. The bonds received 10 bids with the lowest true interest cost, or TIC as it's sometimes abbreviated to, at 3.968%. And the Series 2025 bonds were rated by Moody's and S&P. Both of them reaffirmed their highest ratings of AAA for these bonds. And the factors that they mentioned by the agencies in support of the strong ratings of AAA are our reserve policies and levels, our prudent fiscal management, including our conservative budgeting practices and strong sales tax growth and an expanding local economy. So with the sale of the Series 2025, we've now issued $240 million of the $319 million authorized. That leaves $79 million in future authority, which I believe was scheduled for FY 26-27 on the previous slide. So with that, that brings me to the end. Thank you. I'd be happy to entertain any questions that you might have.
Question from Committee Member Kamasu.
So I guess the closing date is listed as June 11th. So do you expect any more bids to be received, or?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vice Chair, Mr. Kamasu, I'll defer to Erica to answer that question.
Hi, Erica Coons, Division Finance Manager. When we issue the debt, we put out an offering document with a specific day and time for the sale. So the sale happened on the morning of May 20th, and that's when we received the 10 bids.
Thanks.
I have a question. In regard to the rating for the bonds at AAA, is that a natural AAA or is that an insured AAA?
It's a natural AAA.
With that in mind, are we paying Moody's and S&P for their review of that AAA rating? And if it's natural, could we just skip that and save money for the city?
We would not get the rating without paying the rating agencies, so we do pay them.
Yeah. I guess my question more is if it's a natural AAA we don't need there, in order to say it's AAA, you have to pay Moody's and S&P to claim it's AAA. Is that correct?
To get the rating, to get the AAA for them to do the due diligence to reaffirm our AAA, we do have to pay for that rating.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Any other questions from committee members? Perfect. Well, thank you for the presentation. Next, we'll move on to item number 4. Item number 4 will be a presentation, discussion, and possible recommendation for the council here to transfer up to $153,421 in Bond 2019 fund savings from Question 2, Project 57, to Question 2, Project 59. We'll turn this over to Allison.
Okay, thank you. So as I previously mentioned, Project 57 installs solar systems North Corporation campus. That project had some project savings of $153,421, and we are able to transfer that savings to another project within the same question, so question number 2 projects. So here's a list of the 20 projects in question 2. And then on this list, the 6 projects that were complete were removed, and so then there's 14 left for consideration. And then on this list, 7 projects are scheduled for future years or they're on hold, so there are 7 projects left for consideration. So then we're looking at these projects to determine which would be the appropriate project to transfer the savings to. So the first project here would be Project 15, build 200-space parking lot for City Court and Scottsdale Stadium. And this project, again, we're scheduled to construct that project next spring of 2026. But it's not, it's tentative right now, so I wouldn't consider transferring the money to that project at this time. 23 is repair lakes and irrigation at Vista del Camino and the Indian Bend Wash. That is an active construction project, and it is a project that would be potential for adding this funding. It's a very large dollar project. So $153,000 really wouldn't make much of an impact to that project, and it already did receive general fund through City Council 2 years ago. And then Project 45 is renovate Westworld Horse Barns, and as I had mentioned, this project is to renovate 10, actually replace 10 barns, and we've already completed 7, and we already do have funding for the remaining barns in the next several fiscal years. Project 58 is install the solar shade structure at City Hall parking lot, and that's the project that I highlighted that we're targeting to construct this summer, and we do have sufficient funding for it. The next project is install the solar systems at the Civic Center campus, and this project actually, is very similar because it's another solar project. The previous project was solar at North Court campus, and then this is solar at Civic Center campus, and this project could benefit from the additional funds. Project 62 is build a bridge on Thompson Peak Parkway. That project is currently in design and slated for construction in the next fiscal year or the following, and that does currently have appropriate funding. And then Project 63 is build parking structures in the Old Town Scottsdale. That's the project that we talked about at 2nd and Brown, and we are currently, there's a $20 million budget for that project, and we're currently targeting that to come under budget. So with that, staff recommendation is for the committee to consider transferring the savings from Project 57 to Project 59, install solar systems at the Civic Center campus.
Are there time for questions now, or? Yes. Okay, perfect. Anybody have any questions, committee members? Committee member Komsu?
Allison, so on, I guess, item 59, with the solar systems installation, with all the talk in the news nationally about tariffs, and part of it is like, solar panels, could these tariffs potentially impact the cost for this project, or are we pretty confident that it's going to stay the same?
Committee member Kamasu, yeah, there is potential for that for sure with tariffs.
In regards to that, questions for transferring the funds, is this due to potential cost overruns or just an increase in scope of the project?
Committee member Coughlin, Vice Chair Coughlin. Yeah, so actually, I think with this project, the one that we're considering transferring to, it was just timing and not necessarily scope, but just more timing and inflation from when the project was initially estimated.
Question from Committee Member Davis.
Allison, do you know, was there a calculation as to the payback on this project initially? How many years does it take to earn back the investment?
Committee Member Davis, I'm sorry, I don't have that information, but I can provide that to you.
Any additional questions from committee members? Oh, yes, Committee Member Herr.
Is there any kind of like, I think every time when we actually recommend the transfer of the funds between those projects, I just kind of always ask, is there any restrictions or legal requirements to prevent or prohibit these kind of transfers, or there is no restriction limitations on this type of transfer as long as within the bond project?
Committee Member Herr, yes, I believe our only restriction is that we are required to transfer the funds between projects within the same question.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions? Fantastic. At this time, I'd like to seek for a motion to approve transferring up to $153,421 from the Bond 2019 fund savings from question 2, project 57 to question 2, project 59. Anyone like to motion? Committee Member Fisher?
Yeah, I make a motion that we transfer up to $153,421 in Bond 2019 fund savings from question 2, project 57 to question 2, project 59.
And any member like to second?
I'll second.
Thank you. That was Committee Member Holland. Looks like the motion has approved.
Vice Chair Coughlin, I need you to call for a vote.
Yep, call for a vote to approve the transfer of funds from Project 57 to Project 59.
Aye.
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 Perfect. Looks like we have a unanimous vote for approval for the motion. And I believe at this time, if there's nothing else, it's time for public comment. See if there's any public comments. I'll read off read from here. The citizens may address the members of the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee during public comment. This public comment time is reserved for citizen comments regarding non-agendized items. Arizona state law prohibits the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee from discussing or taking action on an item that is not on the prepared agenda. Citizens may complete one request to speak, public comment card, per meeting and submit it to city staff. Public testimony is limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Are there any public comments?
No, there are not.
No, there are not. Any other comments from the board members? Well, I believe I called to adjourn for our meeting here on May the 29th. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.